it says 2 times of sine raised to the power 4 alpha plus 2 cos raised to the power 4 alpha is equal to 1. I'm taking 1 over here on this side, right? Okay, just a common sense, the application of common sense will tell you what is the value of alpha over here, right? If you put the value of alpha is equal to 45, how does it work out? 2 into sine 45, right? Sine 45 raised to the power 4 plus 2 into again cos 45 raised to the power 4, is it equal to 1? Now 2 into what is sine 45? 1 by root 2, right? 1 by root 2 raised to the power 4 is how much? 1 by root 2 raised to the power 4 is 1 by root 2 raised to the power 4 is how much? 1 by root 2 into 1 by root 2 into 1 by root 2 into 1 by root 2, right? It will give you how much? 1 by 4, right? Plus 2 into cos 45 raised to the power 4 is again, it will give you how much? 1 by 4. Now this one will be given half and this one again will give you half, right? Half plus half is how much? 1, right? So it proves that over here the alpha value that we have been looking at is nothing but 45, right? Or otherwise pi by 4, right? Okay, everyone knows what is the value of pi. Pi is equal to how much? 180, right? So this particular value becomes how much? Sine 90 plus cos 90, right? Okay, sine 90 plus cos 90 is what becomes over here, isn't it? Right? So sine 90 is 1, cos 90 is how much? 0. Sine 90 is because this is 2 alpha, so over here value is how much? 1. Okay, can someone please message in the chat if I am audible and is my screen visible, right? So let's get going over here with the next question, right? Okay, so this was your question number 21, folks. Now we have to get going with this question number 22, right? Okay, trigonometry question, right? Trigonometry question over here, right? So it has given 1 minus sine raised to the power 6 alpha is equal to cos square alpha into cos raised to the power 4 alpha into cos raised to the power, like basically we have to prove whether this is an identity or not, right? Okay, whether this is an identity or not. It's always your choice whether or not you want to take over here alpha is equal to, you can take standard values like 0, 30, 45, 60 and 90, okay, right? I would advise against taking the values 0 and 90 because many a times it comes out to be the correct answer, okay? At 45 sine and cos both are equal, so I will tell you to avoid that as well. Instead I will tell you to take either 30 or 60. So let's say I am proving the first one, I took alpha is equal to 30, right? If I take alpha is equal to 30 over here, how does this first one works out? 1 minus sine 30 is 1 by 2 raised to the power 6 is equal to how much? Cos square alpha cos 30 is root 3 by 2 whole square into cos raised to the power 4, right? To cos raised to the power 4 is root 3 by 4 whole square minus 3 into, this is how much? Minus 3 into cos square alpha, that means root 3 by 2 whole square plus 3 is what you have, right? Okay, don't be frightened by seeing all these values over here, right? Okay, you should really not feel frightened by looking at all these values, right? So let's just try to solve it over here. In the left hand side we have 1 minus 1 divided by 64. In the right hand side this is how much? 2 raised to the power 6 is how much? 64, right? Okay, this is 3 by 4 divided by, this is how much? 9 by 4 minus 3 into 3 by 4, which means 9 by 4, right? Over here this is how much? 2 raised to the power 4 is 16 and not 4, right? Okay, and plus 3. So this is on the left hand side, you have 63 by 64. I'm solving for question number 22 over here, right? Okay, which is equal to 3 by 4. And now if I take 16 common over here, which is 9 minus 36 plus 48, which will give you how much? Which will give you how much? Okay, so 63 by 64 is equal to 3 by 4, right? This value is how much? Plus 12 plus 12 plus 9 is 21. 3 by 4, 21 by 16. Does it give you 63 by 64? Even if you take alpha is equal to 60, or even if you take alpha is equal to 90 or alpha is equal to 0, it will satisfy this particular equation over here, right? So which means the first one is pretty much correct. Okay, let's say if I take alpha is equal to 30 in the second one as well, so we have cos a raised to the power 8, which means how much? Cos 30 is root 3 by 2 raised to the power 8 minus sin 30 is 1 by 2 raised to the power 8 is equal to 2 times of sin square alpha, right? Which means 1 by 2 whole square into 1 minus cos raised to the power 4, which means root 3 by 4 a square. See, if they have not given any values over here, if they have simply given alpha, theta and all that, you can take values. Okay, right? Whenever you come across sin cos, put the values how much? Put the values 0. If you come across sin and cos, put the values 30 or 60. If you come across tan or cot, put the values 45, right? Okay, so now this is root 3 by 4, root 3 by 2 raised to the power 4 sin square alpha. Sin square alpha is 1 by 2 square into root 3 by 2 whole square, right? Okay, now if we solve for this over here, on the left hand side you have how much? Root 3 raised to the power 8 is how much? 81 divided by 2 raised to the power 8 is how much? 256 minus 1 by 2 raised to the power 8 is 1 by 256, which is equal to, right, 2 by 4, right? Okay, 2 into 1 by 2 whole square, then 1 minus this is 9 by 16 plus 1 by 4 into 3 by 4, right? Okay, root 3 by 2 whole square. Now if you solve for this, on the left hand side you have 80 divided by 256, now which is equal to 2 by 4. If you solve for this, this is 1 minus 9 by 16 plus 3 by 16, right? Okay, if you solve for this, what we have inside the bracket, okay, let me erase all this, okay, because otherwise it looks a bit cluttered over here, right? So now if you pick up this particular value in the that is 16 minus 9, 7 plus 3 is 10 by 16, right? So 10 by 16 is what you have. In the left hand side you have 80 by 256. In the right hand side you have 20 by 64. Is it 40 by 128? Is it 20 by 64? Right? It is that way, which means it implies LHS is equal to RHS, right? 20 by 64 is equal to 20 by 64. So which means both of your A and B is the correct answer over here, folks. Right? Okay. So quickly we'll move to the next question. Okay. Question number 23. What did I tell you? Whenever you come across cot, you have to put theta value 45, right? So theta value is 45. So P is equal to 1 by cosec 45 is how much? 1 by root 2. Reciprocal of 1 by root 2 is how much? Reciprocal of 1 by root 2 is how much? Root 2 plus cot 45 is 1, and then Q value is cosec 45 is how much? Root 2, right? If you factorize this over here, this is root 2 minus 1, over here also root 2 minus 1. So P value is root 2 minus 1, down below it will be a square minus b square, which will be giving you 1 only, so Q is equal to root 2. So now you have this value. Now they have asked you to find out P square minus 2PQ. Okay, P square is root 2 minus 1 whole square minus 2 into root 2. Q I am writing it first, okay, and then P root 2 minus 1. Is that what we have to solve for it? Okay, so now let's just solve for it over here. If we solve for it, okay, it gives us how much, right? 2 plus 1 minus 2 root 3, sorry, 2 root 2, right? 2 root 2 minus of 4 plus 2 root 2, right? Is that what we have? This plus 2 root 2 minus 2 root 2 gone. This is 3 minus 4, you get minus 1 as an answer over here, folks, right? Okay, so this is the correct answer for question number 23 over here, folks. Okay, now question number 24. Let's move to question number 24 over here. Consider the following statement: cos alpha minus secant alpha, right, is always positive in the first quadrant. Question number 24, right? Cos alpha minus cosec alpha minus secant alpha is always positive in the first quadrant. Tan alpha minus cot alpha is always negative in the first quadrant, right? Okay, right? So they have said that that cos alpha minus secant alpha is always positive in the first quadrant, and tan alpha minus cot alpha is always negative in the first quadrant, right? So let's just go back to the basics. The basic says, right? The basic says, right, 0, 30, 45, 60 and 90, right? Okay, this is your sine, cos, tan. Now this is your cosec, right? This is sec, and over here this is your cot, right? 0, 1 by 2, 1 by root 2, root 3 by 2, 1. Okay, right? So this is, if you write it in the cos form, this is 1, root 3 by 2, 1 by root 2, 1 by 2 and 0. This is known to all of you. This is 0, 1 by root 3, 1, and root 3 infinity, right? Okay, then cot 0 is root 3, 1, 1 by root 3, and over here 0, right? Okay, and cosecant value is how much? Cosecant 0 is how much? Infinity, 2 root 2, 2 by root 2, 1. Okay, right? 1, 2 by root 3, root 2, and then 2 and infinity, right? Or undefined. Okay, right? Okay, so right, so now let's look at the values of cosecant alpha minus secant alpha, right? Cosecant alpha minus secant alpha. Let's look at this, because this is the first quadrant, right? First quadrant means 0 to 19, 0, 30, 40, 45, 60, 90, isn't it? This is the first quadrant, folks, isn't it? So now it is saying that cosecant alpha minus secant alpha is always positive. Infinity minus 1 is positive. This minus this is positive. This minus this is 0, right? But let's look at this value, 2 by root 3 minus 2. If you do that, this is root 3, 2 minus 2 root 3, right? Okay, is this a positive value or a negative value? Okay, 2 minus 2 root 3, right? Root 3 value is 1.732. This value is a negative value, okay, which means this is wrong. Okay, so first one is not right. Now let's compare the tan and cot. You have tan in the yellow and cot over here in the yellow, right? Okay, so you have to compare all of this tan, right, and all of these cot values over here, right? If you compare these two values, right, now let me erase it over here a little bit. Okay, guys, you have to study with your focused mind. Okay, so kindly focus and study. Don't jump from this video to that video and all that. Okay, so tan theta minus cot theta, 0 minus infinity, right? 0 minus infinity. If you do 1 by root 3 minus root 3, right? So this one will give you root 3, 1 minus 3. This is a negative value. What if you take this particular value, root 3 minus 1 by root 3, root 3 minus 1 by root 3, right? Root 3 minus 1 by root 3 over here is how much? Okay, divided by root 3, 3 minus 1, 2 by root 3. They told that tan theta minus cot theta is always negative, but you see over here this is positive. Okay, So which means that your second option is also not correct. Okay, the second option is also not correct over here, right? So we go ahead with the correct answer over here, D, neither one nor two. Okay, right? Okay, right folks. So we'll move to the next one over here. In that case, next question, question number 25. Question number 25 says, a tower obtained an angle of 60 degree at a point A on the same level, right? Okay, so a tower obtained 60 degree, okay, a tower obtained 60 degree at a point A on the same level as the foot of the tower. B is a point vertically above A and AB is equal to H. The angle of depression of the foot of the tower measured from B is 30 degree, right? Okay, you have a tower over here, let's say. Okay, you have a tower over here, let's say I'm writing it like that. Okay, this is your tower. Okay, a tower subtends 60 degree at a point A on the same level as the foot of the tower, same level as the foot of the tower. Let's say this is your A, right? So this is how it joins. But when it says that it subtends 60 degree, which means this is with respect to the horizontal, folks. Okay, this is with respect to the horizontal. There is definitely one question from here. So it says this angle is 60 degree, right? So now from the alternate interior angle, this is also 60 degree, right? Isn't it? And now B is a point which is vertically above A. So B is somewhere over here, right? B is over here, right? And B is a point vertically above A, and AB is equal to H, the angle of depression of the foot of the tower as measured from B, right? Angle of depression is what? Again, the angle with respect to the horizontal, right? Which means this angle, this particular angle they have given as 30. Okay, so again alternate interior angle, this will become 30, right? I'm saying this as O and this as C, right? They have asked us to find out the value of OC, right? So in the triangle OBA or OAB, in the triangle OAB, if I apply tan 30, right? Tan 30 is equal to opposite by adjacent, H by OA. Tan 30 is 1 by root 3, right? It is your H, and then OA. We have to find out the value of OA. This is the base, right? Base, this distance OA, right? OA is equal to root 3 into H, right? Now let us keep this observation in our mind. OA is equal to root 3 into H. We will keep this observation in our mind. Okay, right? If I keep the observation in our mind, OA is equal to H, right? If OA is equal to H, now if I consider the triangle O, or if I consider the triangle AOC, right? Tan 60 is equal to opposite. Opposite is how much? OC by adjacent is OA. OA values right now we have just found out. Okay, OC is the height of the tower. Is that what we have to find? OC. OC is exactly what we have to find out, folks, right? Okay, so OC or otherwise the height of the tower is root 3h into tan 60, right? Cross multiplication, tan 60 is how much? Root 3 only. So root 3 into root 3 is 3h, right? So 25 correct answer over here is how much? Okay, C, 3h over here is the correct answer over here, folks, right? Okay, so now we'll move to the next question, question number 26. In that case, right, they have given sin theta divided by 1 minus cot theta plus cos theta divided by 1 minus tan theta is equal to, right, is equal to what they have asked, and they have given theta over here. Theta over here is not equal to pi by 4, right? Theta is equal to not pi by 4, right? Okay, you can't take pi by 4. Why? Because you see your denominator will become 0, isn't it? Tan 45, pi by 4 is how much? 45 degree, isn't it? Tan 45 is equal to cot 45 is equal to 1. Denominator will become 0, so that's why we cannot take this value. Okay, right? And you cannot take even 0 or 90. You can only take theta is equal to 30 or 60, right? Okay, if I take theta is equal to 30, you can take 60 also, right? So sine 30 becomes how much? 1 by 2. And then cot 30 is how much? Root 3 plus cos 30 is how much? Root 3 by 2 divided by 1 minus 1 by root 3. Okay. Don't be frightened with all these funny looking numbers. It gets easy, right? So now this value is 1 by 2 into 1 by 1 minus root 3, right? Plus root 3 by 2 into, if I solve for this denominator over here, this will become root 3 divided by root 3 minus 1. I'm skipping a few steps over here, right? Okay, don't freak out, right? So now it becomes how much? It becomes how much? 1 by 2 into 1 by 1 minus root 3 plus 3 divided by 2 into root 3 minus 1. Okay, right? 2 into root 3 minus 1. If I take minus common over here, so minus 1 by 2, then it becomes how much? Root 3 minus 1. Okay, this value will flip, isn't it? This value will flip. Plus 3 by 2 into root 3 minus 1. Is that what we have in the picture, folks? Okay, so now if I solve for this one over here, okay, right? So I'm taking over here 1 by 2, 1 by root 3 minus 1 common. Okay, if I take this value common over here, what are we left with? Over here we are left with minus 1, and over here what are we left with? Plus 3. Is this value only 2, right? This value is 2, right? If this value is 2, we can simply say this value and this value is gone, right? Okay, and the numerator is also 1, so this value is also gone. Now if you do factorization, root 3 plus 1, root 3 plus 1, right? So how much do you get? Root 3 plus 1, a plus b into a minus b, right? Okay, root 3 minus 1 into root 3 plus 1, right? Root 3 plus 1 into root 3 minus 1, a square minus b square. How much do you get? Root 3 plus 1 by 2 over here, right? Root 3 plus 1 by 2 over here. We have taken theta is equal to 60, right? Theta is equal to 60 we have taken, right? Isn't it? We have solved for all of this already, right? So now if you put theta is equal to 30 if you in the first one, how much do you get? Sine 30 1 by 2, cos 30 root 3 by 2, 2 1 plus root 3, right? Root 3 plus 1 by 2. Is that what you have in the answer, folks? Okay, is that what you have in the answer, right? Easy one. The length of an arc of a circle of radius 4 centimeter is pi centimeter. Okay, this is your circle, right? And this is your radius O A B, right? The radius over here is 4 centimeter. They have already given, right? Okay, length of the arc AB is equal to pi, right? And what is the magnitude of the angle subtended at the arc? This was a sitter question, right? This was a sitter question, folks, right? I'm deleting all that I wrote for question number 26. Okay, let us focus on question number 27, right? Sitter question. So this arc is basically a perimeter only, right? Part of the perimeter. So theta by 360 into 2 into pi into r is equal to pi. They have given. Is that what they have given? The length of an arc of a circle of radius 4 centimeter is pi centimeter. What is the magnitude of the angle subtended by the arc at its center? Basically they have asked us to find out this value in black, right? So this one gone, this one gone, this one gone, this one gone 180, right? This one gone 2 times, this one gone 90 times, this one gone 45 times, right? So theta is equal to 45 degrees. How much? Pi by 4, right? 180 by 4 is 45 only, isn't it? Easy sitter question. So with this we come to an end of this question number 27, right? Answer was your D, right? Now let's look at question number 28 over here. Let's look at question number 28 a bit more closely, right? Cot square theta minus 3 root 3 cot theta, right? Okay, cot square theta minus 3 root 3 cot theta plus 6 is equal to 0, right? Is that what they have given? cot square theta minus 3 root 3 cot theta plus 6 is equal to 0 they have given, whereas theta belongs to pi by 6. Pi by 6 is how much? 30. Pi by 2 is how much? 90. Okay, but theta does not belong to 90, so it can be 30, 45 or 60, right? 35, 45 or 60, these are the only values it can take, right? If you look closely, cot 30 values, okay, cot 30 values are root 3, isn't it? Okay, if you put cot 30 values over here in this expression over here, cot 30 value if you put, right, cot 30 is equal to root 3. Over here you have cot square theta minus root 3 cot theta plus 6 is equal to 0, right? Root 3 whole square is how much? Root 3 whole square is 3 only, minus 3 root 3 cot theta is how much? Root 3 plus 6 is equal to 0. Okay, right? So this is 3 minus 9 plus 6 is equal to 0, right? Okay, which means 9 minus 9 is equal to 0, right? So which means that cot 30 is the correct answer. Okay, which means over here for theta cot value justifies this. Okay, right? For theta is equal to 30, it justifies this. Okay, right? So now if you put theta is equal to 30 over here, okay, theta is equal to 30 over here, which means sin 30 plus cos 60. Sin 30 plus cos 60 is how much? Sin 30 is 1 by 2, cos 60 is also 1 by 2, half plus half is how much? 1, folks, right? Half plus half is how much? Okay, half plus half is 1 as your answer over here. Question number 28, 1 is the answer. Okay, now question number 29, which of the following equations is or are possible? Sin square theta is equal to x plus y whole square divided by 4xy, whereas xy are positive and unequal real numbers. Okay, right, real quantities. And the second option they have said sin theta plus cos theta is equal to x plus 1 by x, where x is a positive real quantity, right? Okay, x is a positive real quantity over here, right? Okay, so if you take the value, let's say I am taking x is equal to 0.1 and y is equal to 0.2, right? And I am substituting over here on this value. Okay, so sin square theta is equal to how much? 0.1 plus 0.2 whole square is equal to 4 into 0.1 into 0.2, right? Is that what we have? So sin square theta is equal to 0.3 whole square. 0.3 whole square is how much? Okay, 0.3 whole square is how much? 0.09 divided by, over here you have how much? 4, 0.08 is what you have. Okay, 0.08 is what you have, folks, right? Okay, so now if you calculate this is 9 by 8. For sin square, the value of sin lies between 1 to minus 1, right? Okay, this is known to all of us, right? The value of sin lies between 1 to minus 1. So is it possible for the sin square value to be 9 by 8, right? Okay, so this is not possible, isn't it? So this is not possible, right? So let's just take one more values for that matter over here. I'm taking, you know, one thing, that sin theta has to lie between minus 1 to 1. So sin square value also has to, the maximum value of sin square can be 1 only, isn't it? It cannot be more than that. Now if I am taking x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 2 for that matter, right? If I take that, then sin square theta is equal to 1 plus 2 whole square is equal to 4 into 1 into 2, right, which is 9 divided by 8. Is it possible? This is not possible, right? So x, y are positive, then for sin square value this is never possible. Okay, right? You take any other value, you take any other value, sine theta value cannot be between 1 and minus 1. Okay, so sine square value has to be less than minus 1 only, isn't it? Right? Sine square value has to be less than minus 1, right? Sorry, less than 1, not minus 1, isn't it? Okay, sine square value has to lie between 0 to 1, but in all these cases you see this value will give you more than 1, isn't it? So 1 is not possible, folks, right? Okay, 1 is not possible. Now sine theta plus cos theta is equal to x plus 1 by x. Okay, the sine theta value can lie between 1 to minus 1, and cos theta value can also lie between minus 1 to 1. This is known to us, isn't it? This fact is known to us. But if you look at this particular value, okay, if you look at this particular value, x plus 1 by x, which is a number plus its reciprocal, okay, and they have given x is a positive real quantity, right? X is a positive real quantity. Let's say I'm saying x is equal to 0.1. What happens? 0.1 plus 1 divided by 0.1, right? Which means 10.1. Is it the possible value? No. Sine theta, cos theta can only have 1 over here, right? Okay, sine theta and cos theta can only have 1 over here, right? So 1 plus 1 can be 2, right? One value, if you take one of the values, x is equal to 1 over here, right? Okay, if I take x is equal to 1 over here, which means x plus 1 by x is equal to 2, right? And this is the minimum value of x plus 1 by x. If x is a positive, is x plus 1 by x is 2 possible? Is it possible? Is it possible for sine theta plus cos theta over here? For sine theta plus cos theta, is that 2 possible, right? So both sine theta and cos theta value has to be 1, isn't it? If sine theta has to be 1, theta has to be 90. But at cos 90, theta value is how much? Right? Cos 90 value is how much? 0. Right? So sine theta plus cos theta can never be equal to 2 at the same time. Right? Okay. So x plus 1 by x is also not possible. Okay, the minimum value of x plus 1 by x, this is a classical observation over here. Okay, the minimum value of x plus 1 by x, is how much? 2, right? This value is always 2 or more, no matter what value you take. Okay, given that you are taking a positive value over here, right? Okay, so what we conclude over here is that neither 1 nor 2 is the correct answer over here, folks, right? So this was your question number 29, folks, right? Okay, these things will become more clear to you if you actually go and solve it. Okay, if you actually sit down and solve it at your own point, right? If you at your own discussion, if you solve it, then only it will be easy for you, right? Okay, right? So now we'll move to the next question. In that case, question number 30, they have given ms square into sine theta minus 1, n square into sine theta plus 1 is equal to 0, whereas theta lies between 0 to 90, right? Okay, and not equal to theta is not equal to either 0 or pi by 2. Okay, can you think of some values of theta over here, right? Okay, if you take any values, this value will be positive only, right? This value will be positive only. So we really can't take any values of theta over here, isn't it? Can we take any values of theta over here? Tell me, right? We are unable to take any values of theta over here, right? Okay, so what we will be doing, we will be taking the values of m and n instead. Okay, right? If I take m value as 2 and n value as 1, what happens? Okay, m square is how much? 4 into sine theta minus 1 plus n square is 1 only, right? Sine theta plus 1 is equal to 0, right? Okay, which means 4 sine theta minus 4 plus sine theta plus 1 is equal to 0, right? Okay, right? So which means 5 sine theta is equal to 3, which means sine theta is equal to 3 by 5, isn't it? Sine theta value is 3 by 5. Okay, and we also assumed certain values over here, right? Okay, m is equal to 2 and n is equal to 1. Okay, right? These are the values we assumed, right? Okay, these are the values we assumed. Good evening Tirupati. Yeah, okay, so these are the values we assumed. So now you have m square plus n square cos theta, right? And m square minus n square cot theta. Sin theta is what? Right, this is your theta. Sin theta is opposite by hypotenuse, right? So this value will be 4, 3, 4, 5, right? Isn't it? So m square plus n square, m square plus n square into cos theta. Cos theta is how much? 4 by 5, isn't it? 4 by 5 minus m square minus n square into cot theta. Cot theta is what? Adjacent by opposite, which means 4 by 3, right? So this is 5, this is 5, this is 3, this is 3, 4 minus 4, it gives you how much? 0. Okay, please don't do please don't do no inky pinky ponky in the examination that for most of the answer we are getting 0 as an answer, so we will tick 0, right? So kindly don't do that. Okay, right? Please don't do that. Okay, so this is your question number 30, folks. How about question number 31? This is an easy one. Question number 31, folks. How about question number 31? Okay, how about question number 31, folks? What do you think? Question number 31 over here. Okay, what do you guys think about this question number 31? Right? Okay, question number 31, if you look at it more carefully, right? Cos sin alpha plus cos alpha is equal to root 2, right? Sin alpha plus cos alpha is equal to root 2, folks, right? Okay, so is it something like alpha is equal to 45? Is it not clearly visible, right? 1 by root 2 plus 1 by root 2, it's given 2 by root 2 into root 2, right? Okay, so alpha is equal to 45, it is clearly visible, isn't it? Right? So now they are saying sin cube alpha minus cos cube alpha. Okay, sin cube alpha minus cos cube alpha. Okay, right? Okay, sin q alpha minus cos q alpha means 1 by root 2 whole cube. Cos q also 45 is also the same value, right? It will give you how much? 0, isn't it? It will give you how much? 0, folks, right? Easy. Question number 32. What did I teach you? If you ever come across cot and tan, you have to, okay, you have to take what value? Alpha is equal to 45, right? Is that what we have to take? If I take alpha, you can take any values of alpha, but if you see cot and tan, you have to put alpha is equal to 45. It will make your life slightly easier. Okay, so if alpha is 45, 1 plus cot alpha is 1 minus cosecant alpha. Cosecant 45 is how much? Right? 1 by root 2, this is root 2, right? Over here 1 plus root 2, right? This is 2 minus root 2 and 2 plus root 2, right? Isn't it? A minus b, a plus b, a square minus b square, right? What is the answer? Okay, 2 is the answer. You take any other value. The alpha is equal to 60, alpha is equal to 30. As long as you are not taking any values which are not which we cannot define it properly, you are good to go, right? As long as you cannot take any values which we can define it easily, you are good to go, right? Okay, right? So now we will move to the next question, question number 33 in that case. Okay. Right. Question number 33. Question number 33. Unfortunately, we don't have any other option but to do it in a long form method, right? Okay, right. So first of all, what we do, we write down tan theta is equal to sine alpha minus cos alpha divided by sine alpha plus cos alpha. Examination hall, don't write sine sin, cos cos. Please don't write. If you write that way, that's an idiotic stuff. Okay, okay. Right. So now what we do, we divide whole of this. Okay, we divide the whole of the equation over here on the left hand side. Okay, right, on the left hand side by tan. Okay, so if I divide by sine. Okay, if I divide by sine, what happens? Right, sine alpha divided by sine alpha. Right. Okay, sorry, we divide by cos. Right, we divide by cos alpha minus cos alpha divided by sin alpha cos alpha plus cos alpha, right? So what do we get? We get over here, okay, right? We get over here tan theta is equal to, we get tan alpha minus 1 divided by tan alpha plus 1. Okay, right? If we do that, okay, if we do that, now this question is something like this. Okay, now can you think of something like, okay, can we write it something like this? Okay, okay, can we write it like tan alpha minus tan pi by 4, tan 45 divided by, okay, divided by 1 plus tan 45 tan A tan alpha. Can we write something like that? Okay, which is equal to tan alpha. Now is this in the formula? Tan alpha minus tan A minus tan B? Isn't it? Is it in the form of tan A minus tan B is equal to tan A minus tan B divided by 1 minus tan A tan B? Is that what we know? Right? So this value over here is tan of A minus B, alpha minus pi by 4. Is that what we have? Which means alpha is equal, theta is equal to pi by 4. Is that what we have now? Right? Okay. Is that what we have? Now they have asked us to find out what? They have told over here alpha is not equal to pi by 4, and they have asked us to find out the value of root 2 sine theta, right? Okay, now we know the value of this. See, in this particular question you can't take not much of a values. Okay, even if you take alpha is equal to 90, right? Okay, then theta will become 45. Okay, then you will reach these two answers. There won't be any concrete answer. That's the problem, right? Okay, so now we have this particular value over here. Okay, theta is equal to alpha minus pi by 4, right? Okay, now from this, if you apply sine on both sides, which means sine theta is equal to sine alpha minus pi by 4. Is that what we have? Okay, sine alpha minus pi by 4, which means sine theta is equal to sine A minus B is given by, okay, sine A cos B minus cos A sin B, right? Okay, cos pi by 4 is how much? Cos pi by 4 is 1 by root 2. Sin pi by 4 is how much? Again 1 by root 2, right? Can I take 1 by root 2 common? If I take 1 by root 2 common, it gives sin alpha minus cos alpha. Can I take root 2 over here on the up hand side? Okay, to the left hand side over here, if I take, it will give you 2 sin theta is equal to sin alpha minus cos alpha, right? Okay, sin alpha minus cos alpha. Is that what we are giving? Isn't it? So which one do you think is the correct answer in that case? Right? only a few of the questions cannot be solved by not taking the values, cannot be solved by taking the values, right? Okay, so root 2 sine theta over here is equal to sine alpha minus cos alpha is what you have. Okay, right? So you should be aware of the basics as well. Question number 34, folks. For how many values alpha does the expression this becomes 0, right? For how many values? You know, the hint is that sine value, right? Sine values lies between minus 1 to 1. Okay, right? Sine value lies between minus 1 to 1, folks, isn't it? Okay, the value of sine lies between minus 1 to 1, isn't it? Okay, so if the value of sine lies between minus 1 to 1, if this value has to become 0, if this value has to become 0, which means either this value sine alpha will have to be minus 2, or this value have to be minus 4, or this value will have to be 2, or this value will have to be 4, then only it will be 0, right? Isn't it? Then only it will be 0, yes or no? Tell me. Write down in the chat, guys. Okay, write down in the chat who and all are there, 4 of you, right? Okay, right? Okay, so who and all are there? So is it value root 2 minus 4, 2 minus 4? Is it possible? Tell me. Is it possible? So for no values of sine, it will be 0, right? The answer over here is for no values of, right, sine, it will be 0, folks. Okay, right? You guys write down in the chat, folks. Come on, these and all sitter questions. Very easy. Question number 35. Solve and tell me the answer. What do you guys think? What is the value of x wherein x belongs to, x lies between, right, 0 or 30 degree, right? Okay, tan 3x into tan 6x. Tan 3x into tan 6x is equal to 1, isn't it? How is that possible? Tell me. How is that possible, folks? Okay, how is that possible? If you pick up tan 10 degree, let's say, right, tan 0 is 0, so it is definitely not your answer. Okay, if you pick up tan 10 degree, is it tan 30 into tan 60, right? Tan 30 is root 3, tan 60 is 1 by root 3. Is it equal to 1? Is it equal to 1? Will they give you any easier question than this? Will they give you any easier question than this, folks? You are not solving it. Kindly solve the question and write down in the chat, folks. I'm not getting a single answer from you, folks. Right? That's a very bad condition, I must tell you. Very bad condition of yours. Very bad condition of yours. Right? Okay. So what is the value? If you pick up any other values, let's say 12, that means tan 36 degree and tan 72 degree. It will not give you, okay, it will not give you 1. The summation of these two values has to be 90, isn't it? Right? Okay, the summation of these two values has to be 90, folks, right? Or otherwise, if you don't want to solve it this way by putting up the values, how can you solve this way? This one, right? So tan 30 is equal to into tan 90 minus 30, isn't it? Tan 90 minus 30 is how much? Cot 30, right? Tan 30 into cot 30 is 0, isn't it? Okay, basically this plus this has to be 90. Okay, so 3x plus 6x has to be 90. Okay, so 90 by 9 is how much? 10 degree, folks, right? Okay, that is also one of the ways. So I'll move to the next question. You guys are not answering any question over here. Okay, you guys are not answering anything. Kindly answer. Kindly answer, folks. Okay, so now we go ahead with question number 36 over here. How can we solve this? How can we solve this? what is the value of a minus b whole square divided by b minus c into c minus a, right? B minus c whole square divided by c minus a minus b into c minus a whole square into a minus b minus c minus 3 is equal to what? They are given, okay? Wherein a, b, c are not equal. If a, b, c are not equal, can we still take a is equal to 1, okay? If I am taking a is equal to 1, b is equal to 2 and c is equal to 3, is there any harm? Is any harm in taking that values? Okay, so a minus b whole square, okay, a minus b whole square is how much? 1 square is 1 only. Now denominator b minus c whole square is 1 only, right? B minus c, right? B minus c, right? B minus c is minus 1, okay? Then c minus a, c minus a is how much? 2 plus b minus c whole square. So b minus c whole square is how much? 1 divided by c minus a. C minus a is how much? 2 into a minus b is how much? Minus 2, right? Plus c minus a is how much? C minus a whole square is how much? C minus a, 3 minus 1 whole square is how much? 4 divided by a minus b. A minus b is how much? Minus 1. B minus c is how much? Minus 1, right? Okay, minus 3, right? So in the left hand side you have minus of half, right? Then minus of 1 by 4, right? Then minus minus plus 4 minus 3, right? Isn't it? Right? Isn't, folks? Is that what we have? Is that what we have? A minus b whole square, b minus c, right? C minus a, c minus a is, c minus a is 2, right? Then c minus a, c minus a is 2. Then a minus b is minus 1. Okay, a minus b is minus 1. Okay, so over here this value will be 1. Okay, sorry, not 2, right? So which means minus 1 plus 4 minus 3 is how much? 0. So what is this equal to? Simply 0, right? Simply this value is how much? 0, right? Isn't, folks? What is this value? Tell me. Okay, okay, easy. How about question number 37? Now we are approaching the end. Over here you have got in the numerator we have got 1 to 100. In the denominator you have got 100 raised to the power n. What is the largest value of n for which this is true? Okay, right? Given that this is an integer, what do you mean by this is an integer? Which means this numerator is divided by the denominator completely, isn't it? Numerator by denominator is equal to divided completely, isn't it? Is that what we mean? Right? Is that what we mean over here? Right? Isn't it? So over here we are worried about finding the number of fives in this, okay, and the number of fives in this, right? Okay, how many fives are there? Okay, right? Over here you have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, right? Okay, 30. Likewise, up till 100 you will be having number of fives will be 20. Okay, number of fives will be how much? 20, isn't it? Okay, now we have 25 also. 25 is 5 into 5. 75 is how much? 25 into 3 and 100, right? Okay, 100 is how much? Okay, 25 into 4, isn't it? Right? So this one will give you how much? This one will give you how much? How many fives are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 25 will have 2 5s in it. 75 will have how much? 5 into 5. 25 into 3. Right? 5 into 5. So you have one from here and one from here. Right? So you have 3 more 5s. So which means the number of 5s in this numerator is how much? 23. Okay. Right? The number of 5s in the numerator is how much? 23. Right? Or otherwise, if we can write it something like, okay, 5 raised to the power 23 into something something something. Right? Now divided by, this is how much? 10 raised to the power 2n. Okay, 10 raised to the power 2n you have, right? Okay, 10 raised to the power 2n, which means 10 raised to the power 2n is how much? Which means 2 raised to the power 2n and 5 raised to the power 2n. Right? Isn't it? This is what you have. Right? Okay. So which means 5 raised to the power 23 and 5 raised to the power divided by 5 raised to the power 2n. These two should be equal, isn't it? Isn't, folks? Right? Okay. These two should be equal. Right? Okay. Right? So over here, this value and this value should be equal, right? So which means 23 should be equal to 2n. Okay, right? So what is the largest value of n over here? Okay, largest value of n is what? N is an integer. Okay, right? So over here you cannot have n is equal to what should be there? Okay, n is equal to 12, which is not there in any one of the answer over here, right? Okay, so 37, what do you think is the answer in that case? Okay, 37 answer will be D, none of the above. Okay, right? Okay, now we'll move to question number 39, folks. Okay, question number 39 says, okay, a man starting from a place P went x meters. X is more than 120, right? Okay, x value is more than 120, right? Okay, a man, let's say I'm writing it over here. Okay, a man starts from a point P, right, and goes to 120 meter east. Before turning south, he went 40 meters straight, okay, before turning to his west, right, and he traveled 60 meters, right, west, okay, 60 meter west to reach a point Q. He reached the point Q. From Q he went 200 meter north, right? So from Q he went 200 meter north, right, to reach a place called R, right? If PR is equal to 200 meters, then what is the value of x, they have asked. Okay, so I'm calling it like PO, PQR, ST, right? They have given PS is equal to x, right? Okay, now QO value will also be 40, right? Okay, QR value is equal to 200, so RO value will be 160, isn't it? Now in the triangle over here, right, if this is 200, if this is 200, right, okay, and RO value over here is how much? 160, right? So if you apply for the Pythagoras theorem, will it be 120? Okay, 3 4 5, multiple of 3 4 5, folks, right? Multiple of 3 4 5, isn't it? Okay, multiple of 3, 4, 5. You apply the Pythagoras theorem, right? So which means PO value is how much? PO value is 120. OS value is how much? OS value is 60. Why? Because QT is also 60, right? Okay. So now if you add these two, how much do you get? If you add these two, how much do you get? Okay. If you add these two, how much do you get, folks? Right? 180. Right? Okay. What is the answer? 180 over here is your answer, folks. Right? Easy. Easy one. Not so difficult one. Let's move on to question number 39. In that case, right, they have given x square plus y square plus z square, right? X square plus y square plus z square is equal to 3. X, y, z are integers. Then how many values of x, y, how many values of x, y, y, z plus z x are possible? Okay, right? Okay. So what if I am saying, x, y, z, right? Since it's a square value, it can be all of it positive, right? It can be all of it positive, right? Isn't it? Now it can be positive, positive, negative, right? Positive, negative, negative, right? Okay, negative, negative, negative. These are the 4 values over here, right? Now what values you can have? Okay, you can have 2 into 2 into 2, that is 8 values, right? Isn't it? You can have over here negative, negative, positive, positive, right? Isn't it? Okay, negative, positive, positive, right? So now I'll also write it over here, right? So let me make some space. Okay, so x, y, z. How many values? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So this one is your negative, negative, positive. Okay, right? And in this one, let's say only this one is your negative. You have positive, you have positive, right? Isn't it? What one more values we can have? We can have only this one negative and these two are positive and positive. Are all of these different? Or all of these different, folks? Right? Okay, I hope we did not repeat it anywhere. Okay, so yeah, this is a 1 1 1 1 negative that we have repeated, right? Okay, so for that what we will do, okay, 1 1 is positive, 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 negative, negative, negative. Okay, negative, positive, positive, negative, positive, positive, negative, negative, positive. Okay, yeah, so we have one option, negative, negative, positive, right? This also option we have, isn't it? Now if we check for this xy, xy is how much? 1, right? Then yz, yz value is -1. Okay, zx value is -1. Okay, this one will give you -1. Okay, this one is giving you -1. Let's check for this one. Okay, 8 conditions only, don't freak out, only 8 conditions we have. Okay, so xy value is -1, yz value is also -1. Okay, and zx value is +1. Okay, again it is giving you -1. Okay, now this value, right? Again this value xy plus yz plus zx, it will give you 1, isn't it? Okay, now this particular value over here, 1 1 -1, right? This is 1 -1 and zx will be again -1, right? So this one again is giving you -1, right? And now we'll check for this one, this particular one, xy is equal to -1 +1 -1, again this is giving you -1, right? Right? So now if we check for this one, -1 -1 +1 +1 +1, right? So it will again give you how much? It will give a value of 3. This one is also giving a value of 3, right? Now we'll check for this one, -1 into -1 -1 +1 -1. Okay, right? This one also giving you -1. right? Now x, y, y, z, right? This one is giving me -1, and this one is giving -1, minus, minus, +1. This one, 1, -1. Okay. So you see we have only two values possible over here. One is 3, another one is -2. Okay. So how many values can this have? We can have only two values over here, folks. Right? Okay. So we'll do the one last question for the day, folks, over here. Okay. Right? X plus y plus z are the real numbers such that x plus y plus z is equal to 3, xy, yz and zx is equal to 18, and x cube plus y cube plus z cube, right? For that x cube, right, x cube plus y cube plus z cube minus 3xyz is equal to x plus y plus z into x square plus y square plus z square minus xy minus yz minus zx. This is a standard formula. This is a standard formula that you guys should know, right? So to find out, we know this value, we also know this value, but we don't know this value, x square plus y square plus z square. But we know one thing, x plus y plus z whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus c square plus 2 into xy plus yz plus zy, right? Okay. Now you know this value. This value is how much? 10 square. 10 square is how much? Hot up. Okay. 10 square is how much? 100, right? 10 square is 100, isn't it? Now xy, yz, zx value is 18, right? So this value over here is how much? Plus 36. So which means x square plus y square plus zs is equal to how much? 64, right? Is that what we have, right? So now we have to find out this value. X plus y plus z value we know 10, right? X square plus y square plus z square value we know how much is that. Okay, right? Is how much we know? We know it is 64, right? Minus of all of this in plus, right? Minus of 18, right? So which means 10 into how much, right? 6, and this is how much? 4. So which means we get 460 as an answer to this particular question, folks, right? Okay. So with this we come to an end of the today's session over here, right? Thank you so much for joining. All the questions were easy, very easy. Let me walk through all of these questions once more for the sake of all those of you who joined a little bit late. Okay. So in this particular question we smartly thought through the numbers as to what number we should be putting in. Okay, we found out that theta alpha is equal to 45. It worked out, right? Okay, 22 we simply put in the values of alpha. Any values, I'm not suggesting you in the case when you have both sine and cos, don't put the values either 0, 90 or 45. You can put 30 or 60, because at 45 it is likely to be true, but it won't be the identity, right? Okay, at 0 and 90 multiplication values will become 0, right? So to avoid that, you can take 0, 30 and 60. We picked up these two values and found out that both of these were correct. Okay, and what did I tell you over here? Whenever you see cot, you have to put theta is equal to 45. You put theta is equal to 45, we easily solve this question over here, right? Okay, this one we drew the table and all that, and we got to understand that was very easy, right? Okay, and for this one, this is a short one of the questions from height and distance, right? That also we solved and got 3h as your answer, right? Again you have sine and cos values, so take theta is equal to either 30 or 60 and prove that, right? Okay, so for 26 we got what value we got? We got the value as A as your answer to this question, folks, right? Okay, this one was an easy. Length of arc of a circle of radius 4 is pi centimeter. What is the magnitude of the single subtended at the center, right? So we found out that was pi. Okay, right? That was theta by 360 into 2 pi r is equal to pi. Okay, r is equal to 4. Now calculate for theta, you will get pi by 4, right? Okay, right? Pi value is the meaning of pi is how much? Meaning of pi is, right, okay, pi value is 180, right, okay. For this question also we smartly thought through the theta value over there. Theta value we found out that cot 30, it worked out pretty well with the equation over here, okay. So question number 23, we knew that sine theta and also the cos theta, okay, the value lies between -1 to 1, okay, and then we put in certain values over here, certain values in decimal and certain values in 1 and more than 1, all that we put in, we realize that neither of this is possible, okay, right. In this particular question, what we did, we substituted the value, we carefully substituted the value m is equal to 2 and n is equal to 1. If you substitute the value n is equal to 1, m is equal to 2, you will get sine theta value in negative, okay, but then the sine theta value cannot be negative. Why? Because they have given this particular stuff, okay. So we smartly thought through this substitution that m is equal to 2 and n is equal to 1, and we put it in the equation over here. We got the value of sine theta. Sine theta, I think we got 3 by 5 or 4 by 5, and then we found out what is the value of cos theta and cot theta, and then we solved it, okay, right. This one was also pretty much easy. It was pretty much clear that if you put in alpha is equal to 45, you could have solved for it easily, right. This question again easily, cot theta tan theta, theta is equal to 45, and you simply got the answer over here, right, okay. We did not have much of an option to solve this question, so the right hand side we divided that sine theta cos theta by, right, by sine theta, by cos theta, sine theta cos theta, right, by 1, and then it became basically tan theta tan alpha minus 1 and tan alpha plus 1. What we did, we put that in the formula tan alpha minus pi by 4, right, and then we solve for it, okay. You guys can look for it all over again, right. And for this question we found out that, you know, for this expression to be 0, we knew that sine theta can be only be between -1 to -1, and then for us to be 0, it was supposed to be this value, which is not possible. So that is why there are no values possible over here, right, okay. For this to be 1, the summation of these two values 3x plus 6x has to be 90, which means x is equal to 10, folks, right. Such a easy sitter questions, right, isn't it? Extremely sitter questions, right. ABC, you simply put in any random values. They have not given any condition over here. Only one of the condition, ABC cannot be equal to 0, has to be met. So I have taken A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2, and C is equal to 3, and we solved it. We got 0 as an answer, okay. In question number 39, basically we were supposed to find out how many number of 5s are there. Why do we find out the number of 5s? Okay, for any number, right, for any number, let's say 100, you write it as, you know, 2 raised to the power 4 and 2 raised to the power 2, right, 2 raised to the power 2 and 5 raised to the power 2, right, okay. So the number of 5s determine the number of zeros in the number, okay. So this one we wrote 10 square 10 raised to the power 2n, or otherwise we write 2 raised to the power 2n and 5 raised to the power 2n, and numerator also we found out how many 5s are there, right, 5, 10, 15, 20. This way we got 25s, right, and then 25, 75 and 100. We got 3 more 5s from there. So in the numerator it was 5 raised to the power 23 raised to the power x, and this value we don't know this value. In the denominator you have 5 raised to the power 2n, right. So 2n was supposed to be 23. Since n over here is the largest value of n, it was supposed to be 12.5, which is not there in your answer. That's why we said D is the answer, okay. This one was an easy one, okay. It went something like this, okay, then this, then this, then this, okay, and they gave this particular value over here. This was 200, this value was 160, so we applied Pythagoras to form this value. This value over here was given as 60, so we did this to 80, okay. So x plus y plus z whole square, right? I mean x square plus y square plus z square is equal to 3. So x can be equal to plus or minus 1, y can also be plus or minus 1, z can also be plus or minus 1. In all you have 2 into 2 into 2, which means 8 different cases, right? Plus 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 minus, right? Plus minus 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 minus, right? And all that, right? And we put that over here. We found that there are only two values possible, which was minus 1 and 3, right? Okay. For question number 40, it was extremely easy. You are just supposed to put in the formula over here, right? The formula for x cube plus y cube plus z cube minus 3xyz is equal to how much? The formula is equal to x square plus y square plus z square plus 2 into xy plus yz plus zx, right? Okay. We were supposed to find out this value, but we knew x plus y plus z whole square is equal to x square plus y square plus z square plus 2 times xy plus yz plus zx. From here we found out the value of xyz, which was like 64. So we put 64, okay, minus 2 into, I don't know, I don't remember what was the value, okay. So we found out that 460 was the answer, okay, right. So you can also go through all of this all over again, okay. So thank you so much folks, all of you, for joining over here.